You're watching The Mic Check, on every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Well, hello and welcome everyone to this week's Mic Check. Hey, we got some really exciting news. We have another special guest joining us later this month. Can you believe it? Make sure to stick around for some more information. I'm going to let everybody in the group know after this mic check is over. So if you want to hear about future announcements, make sure to join us and stay till after the mic check. That's when all the juicy stuff happens. But this week, we have got, I feel, a really nice little challenge when it comes to communicating emotion and communicating a story, because you have to do that while only delivering a certain kind of line. If you're interested, let's let JD show us what it's all about. JD, you're up first.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Richard.
Wait, I'm ready. Okay.
I can't see the script well.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Nathan.
Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? And what if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Janet.
All right. Okay. Yeah, go for it, Janet.
Conversational.
Okay. What if you could drive Hold on. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your iPhone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top? I don't even know. Okay. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Tim.
He's muted.
Hi, Richard. Good to see you.
There you go.
Make sure we're all listening. All right, here we go. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never have to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top off your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Alrighty, let's go to Leonard. That would be Leonard.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Devin.
Is there a trick to being both upbeat and laid back at the exact same time? I guess I'll give this one a go. All right, upbeat and laid back. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? And Michael.
All right. I'm coming through, right? Good. Not pulling a Richard. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? All right, Patrick.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Who's left?
John, Rob, Dan.
Rob.
Okay. Stay calm. Come on. Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? Joe.
Joe is observing today, so it's John and Dan who are the only ones available right now.
Okay.
I love Erja. John, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll just pass it on to the next Jay.
Okay, you copying me?
Yes.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
And last but certainly not least is Dan.
Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
All righty then. So that is everybody. So, first of all, let me just read aloud this directions section, just so that everybody who's listening knows how, well, interesting it is.
Absurd.
Challenging.
This is specifically, well, this is exactly what the
Interesting.
directions section says. It says conversational, smart, trustworthy, knowing, upbeat, all in caps, positive, friendly, interesting, non-corporate, laid back, cool, collected.
Well, not
Yeah.
laid back.
I know that guy.
Oh man.
He has multiple personalities.
So then, let me
Sibyl's
let me
got
ask you all a question here real
I
quick.
actually, what I was gonna do when we started this, I was gonna do each line with one of the different directions.
Different directions. Well, let me go ahead and ask you all a question here. What do you think that direction is trying to say? Like, what do you think that word salad is trying to get at?
What words? What
I
salad?
would say just be yourself, not announcery.
Conversational.
Yeah.
It's saying it'll accept any of these, but not corporate.
Yeah.
I think it came from a room full of guys saying each what they wanted, and maybe
That is literally what it sounds like. It is. You know, we need this guy to be conversational. Hey, oh yeah. Oh, by the way, hey, Frank, we need him to be smart too. Hey, don't forget smart.
And they all agreed on upbeat, so that one got a big.
Yeah, exactly. Upbeat was on every list, so they had to all
Yeah.
caps the thing.
They're all around the table. Yeah, upbeat. Yeah, gonna be upbeat. Yeah.
So then, again, let's say that we want to boil that down. How are we going to rewrite that direction section to fit with all of those words? If we could boil it down to maybe at most 3 words, what would we use?
Upbeat.
Well, yes, okay.
That's one.
All caps. Let's go ahead and keep upbeat. But what else is there? What else should we be focusing on?
Conversational.
Conversational,
Okay.
yeah.
I think knowing is an operative word.
Knowing is a really good one.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
Smart and knowing. They got
Okay.
smart and knowing and interesting. So all 3 of those kind of fit in the same group there.
Yeah, I think we could boil all of that down into knowing. So conversational, upbeat, and knowing. Right? Does that sound good to everybody? That sound like a good overview?
That works.
Yeah, I was just thinking when they list that many things, they're basically just saying, do you, whatever you do, as long as it's not announcery and corporate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
unless
That's what I said.
Exactly.
unless they want to hire somebody with multiple personalities.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
we got
think-
a few of those.
I've literally heard Richard Horvitz talk about this
Richard?
subject, about how they will put that in the direction. He's like, that is, you don't want to do all of that.
No, because this is overwhelming. Like, this is far too much work to try to just parse out what it is that they mean, when it's pretty obvious what it is they're going for. Don't sound announcery. Sound like you know what it is. Sound like you know what you're talking about. Like, make sure you connect yourself to the script. Connect yourself to what's going on. Don't just be this separate voice reading it. So I think this whole word salad is just, kind of like, hey, we're gonna throw everything at the actor, and we're gonna let them kind of decide on what their non-announcery sounds like.
I got one
That's
of these
kind
in
of
an
what this comes
audition
off to me.
once. I got one of these in an audition once, and it was for animal medicine, and they wanted something that sounded like a horror movie trailer, and they were listing all this stuff. And because I was so new in voiceover, there was a few things I hadn't learned, and I had not learned about don't follow all the directions. And I ended up doing my Jack Palance impression trying to book this thing. Well, it could be really bad if your pigs die.
I don't know. That you got some delicious bacon waiting for you there.
What if they got trichinosis? So,
can I make one observation from
Absolutely.
I think aside from the weird direction challenge, I think the other challenge is the fact that everything except ever is a question.
Mm-hmm.
And half the people read ever as a question also. You only get one thing with a period. You should probably take that one. But
You got it.
differentiating all those questions is tough to make it sound like you're not just grilling the person in the back of a police station.
Well, there were a couple of people who did something really, really interesting with the question. Something I feel actually really works with with the storytelling of this particular script, because it's going to sound boring if you try to read everything like it's a question. You know, what if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? You know,
I have a question real quick. Do you really ask questions like that?
sometimes.
In real conversation.
Not 10 of them in a row.
Not 10 of them in a row. No, not like that.
Good point.
No, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. This is
conversation where I've asked a question where I came, what if you could drive the future today? No, that's not a question. What if you could drive the future today? It's a question to me. It's not, there's not necessarily an uptick for a question mark. When you're being conversational, what if you could check your car from your phone? That's only if you're like unsure of what the answer is going to be.
I do a lot of these what if questions on my own just because I'm constantly thinking of new ideas and how to make things work. So if I'm having one of those kind of conversations with if I am having a conversation with somebody and I get into this big what if we do, it's more of a something like that, you know? It's like, hey, what if we take this thing live right now? That sort of question. If it's the same way.
Well,
the question mark on comes back to how we were taught to read in elementary school and grade school. That's where the uptick on the question comes from, even though you don't ever ask a question like that unless you are unsure of the answer.
Yeah.
Do you think we should really be doing this?
Think of it in the context of a rhetorical question.
So I think what we can safely agree on is these are not actually questions.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more rhetorical.
If it helps mentally, when I get a list of questions like this, I will put a question mark after the what if, and then treat the rest like a sentence.
Like a sentence? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What if you could drive?
Makes good sense.
So these are rhetorical, but they're used as a device to tell the story itself. Now, when I was talking about something that people did specifically with the questions that I felt was really good, was they focused more on the story of the script rather than the question. And how do they do that? They sort of broke it apart a little bit. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone? You know, they're highlighting the most important parts. This is sort of like the overall narrative of this script is not, it's not like a 5-year-old asking what ifs, obviously. This is, hey, I want you to actually imagine this. I want you to put yourself in that position. So knowing that we have to put somebody else's brain in that position, we have to put them in that mindset. What kind of character are we? What should we be doing? What should we be thinking when we ask these questions?
Hey, wouldn't this stuff be great? Boy, do I have a solution for you. This is leading up to some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Better than sliced bread.
But who are we talking?
Yeah, Tim, you're real low again. We can barely hear you, bud.
How about now?
Oh, there you go.
That's good.
Yes.
I can move the microphone.
I was looking at that. You got two different places on here with what if you could check on your car from your phone? It's a question with a comma. Is what I did. What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? So you have a couple of those. That's the way I looked at it, was a question mark with a comma after it. So it's like a micropause going into another thing. It's like, okay, what if you did this? But in doing that, this is what you could do with it.
So somebody asked the question a little bit earlier, who is this talking to? Like, who are we talking to here? This is obviously somebody who's going to be looking for a car with some technology in it.
Who are we? That's
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at with the other question.
Yeah.
What's our position? Who are we in this?
You could take it as you are someone who is coming back from 10 years in the future and talking to someone who is, here's what's going to be great about the future. You're going to be able to do these things, but he's posing those questions really as statements.
Well, there is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was seeing this as your inner voice asking you to imagine greatness.
I think that might be a little bit more acting than we'd need to, because there's a position that we can take this from that normally people lump into the not right category that actually can really apply, and that is a brand ambassador. You work for this company that's making this car that can do all of this stuff. And now you get the chance. You've been working on this in secret for so long, but now you have the opportunity to show it to people.
Okay.
That's a potential. That's an opportunity. That's potential. I like Patrick's. You're from the future. That's really cool too. But this is. I feel that those two sort of align slightly. Like, you know something the other person doesn't. So
a good pre-life for this. A good pre-life for this would be like, hey, is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Right.
What if you could drive the future today? You know, to get yourself into the mode.
You know what else this is very similar to? This is really similar to the presentation that was made when the iPhone was first introduced.
Yeah.
It's extremely similar to that.
I was looking at this as maybe you're one of those folks that takes popular science and you got a buddy and say, you're just not going to believe what I just read about this. Tell you all about it. Then when you get to it could power your house and this is how, and you could go on about whatever the article was. That's the way I was looking at it as you were.
So again, all in all, I think the common thread between all three of those, you're from the future, you're a brand ambassador, or you're somebody who's really in the know, is that you have exciting information the other person doesn't have, and you want them to think, wait, are these actual questions or is this reality? Am I wrong?
You're a futurist.
Yeah, exactly. That is that's the word for it right there, because I am a futurist and I understand these kind of questions.
That was the last 9 years of my Marine Corps career.
Well, there you go. By the way, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So, okay. So we have a good general idea of who we are, right?
Right.
So now that we have that, how should we approach these questions? What should be our frame of mind?
Well, each of these questions ends with a twist that makes the question special somehow.
Okay, but let's say we're going to choose sort of an emotional state for this whole thing, like a frame of mind that you approached all of this from.
Let me tell you about something that's really cool coming down the road, and I'm building intrigue.
Okay, so mystery and excitement. Intrigue. I like intrigue a lot. That's another good one you could throw on there. These are just some ideas to try to get you into, try to get you to just think about what kind of mindset you should be in when approaching this particular script. So just whatever words you want to throw out, go for it.
Yeah, or approaching this particular kind of audience. They could be an audience that needs immediate gratification.
Okay.
Like, wait a minute. What if, I can fix it all right now? Not that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Rob types into the chat engaging. I agree with that too. Like you're absolutely trying to get somebody's attention here, but let's talk about some mental states, some emotional states that you yourself can embody.
Okay.
Well, one thing I'm thinking is this is essentially a big list of questions. And since it's a list, you really want to vary it up from one item to the next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, how are you going to do that with this kind of script and with the kind of we're talking about the kind of emotion that this should be approached with?
I keep wanting to say sarcasm for some reason.
Sarcasm? Well, what if you could drive the future today?
The future is for everyone else, but not you.
Yeah.
You are not.
I know it's not the word I'm looking for, but
if you have to stay conversational, then I don't think you can do things like and switch on the air conditioning remotely. What
You're
if-
right.
What
You're
if-
right. And I think conversational is, I think a lot of the times these writers use conversational as a synonym for know what you're doing. Don't sound announcery. Don't sound like you're reading. I think that's
Okay.
mostly why they put that there.
Okay.
Conversational is so. I don't really like it personally as a direction because everybody's conversational is a little bit different. There are people who get super animated and super into whatever it is they're saying, and then there's some people who are just really deadpan and flat. They go right to the point, and that's all they care about.
Right.
Everybody's conversational is different. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Don't think I'm not making fun of you. I'm just pointing it out. Everybody's conversation is a little bit different, and I think conversational is just too broad of a term, because I think what they're trying to do again is get at don't sound like you're reading. This is not our words that we're putting into your mouth. This is your words. So I like the idea of knowing, upbeat, and what was the other one? Oh, I think we stuck with conversational. Okay.
Whatever this
laid back, relaxed, comfortable would probably be the best.
Sorry, Patrick, go ahead. What was it you were saying?
Whatever this ad is selling, it's convenience all the way through. Every one of these things is about convenience. So that's the emotion that you're, that's convenient. So if you
okay, I like that. I like that.
This is going to be great for you.
Hey, wouldn't that be convenient?
Okay, then. So I think we've had some pretty good discussion so far about who we are, about how we should approach the script, and about some frame of mind that we can take when we actually read it. So why don't we go ahead and get back into it, starting with JD.
Where did JD go?
Yeah, he's gone.
We'll give it to Philip then.
Okay.
Wait, what?
No. We'll go ahead and we'll let Phil. Maybe we'll push him to the end just to be kind to him. But next up was Richard.
Oh, swell! I have to be first. Oh, and I'm unmuted. How about that? I was checking. I didn't think I was. Okay, then. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think? Not everybody at once now.
It was a little selly.
Yeah.
Was it a little selly?
Okay. Sell.
Yeah.
I think it would help
And
to
your
let
ever sounded kind of like a teenage girl.
it did sound a little like dialed back the exuberance just a little bit. And I would also say let the points marinate a little at the end of each question. Especially at the beginning, you were jumping a little too quickly into the next question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't pull a Nathan. Respect the punctuation.
Yes.
Well, it's weird punctuation, okay?
Okay, I only respect it a little bit.
Okay. All right, a little too sully. All right. Okay, anything else? And
Yeah, watch that ever and don't sound like a teenage girl.
Yeah, be more of a professor, maybe.
All right.
Give it some finality, like ever. Give that a try. Go for it.
All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
I think I know where that salesy sound is coming from. No. You did really, really good up until the very, very end. And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay, that was the sales pitch.
Yeah, that was the thick eyebrows kind of, yeah, what if one day it could power your
Boy,
house?
this is gonna, like I said, he was excited about it. And what if one
And
day
what if one day it
power
could
your
power
house?
your house? Like this is big. Like what if one day
Yes.
your car could literally generate electricity for your home? Think about how that could be used. Maybe there's a power outage in your area and you're the only one whose fridge is actually working. You know?
Happens a lot, Aaron.
Well, that's kind of like the thing. Like this is the big, like this is the finale. This is the holy crap moment. So just
And
try
what
that
if
last
one
round.
day it could power your house?
There
Better?
you go. Something more like that. Yeah, slow it down
Okay.
just a little bit and go for it again.
The whole thing?
Just the end, just that last line.
Okay. And what if one day it could power your house?
What did everybody else think?
Try one more time.
Okay, yeah.
You try to make it more authoritative, maybe.
And what if one day it could power your house? Was that less salesy? Authoritative?
Yeah, I liked it.
That was better? Okay. We'll splice it in, darling. The rest is fine. We'll make it work in post.
That's what I always say.
Anything else?
No, I think in general, that last read that you had was really well paced. You helped tell, I mean, you told the story really well, and it was just that last line that needed some fixes. Unless anybody else has any other ideas, I think we can safely move on.
See.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along.
Moving right along.
That would be
Next
me.
up is Nathan.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? And what if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think?
Nathan, I don't know you very well except for this, but it didn't sound like you.
It didn't sound very conversational at all.
It sounded very upbeat, but your mood changed about 2/3 of the way through. From upbeat, it kind of drained off and got down.
Yeah, I'm with you, Patrick. That the last 2 lines. What if your everyday car was an electric car? You know, maybe. And
What if your everyday car? God, what's an
it
electric
might
car?
power your house? I mean,
Okay,
you know,
I see.
they're doing stuff. But that was where it just kind of went into. That's the important part of the whole thing. Is the electric car is what's going to power the house.
Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? And what if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
That was better.
You added
But
an
you
and.
beat up poor little and like a couple of different times, smacked it around severely.
And same thing, and with the pronouns too. You just gut checked some of those pronouns.
Oh,
Leave the
man.
pronouns
What
alone.
if you could top up your car on your lunch break?
I'm getting a little
I
bit of a
gotcha.
vibe like you're like a kid going, "Whoa!" and I feel it might be better for you to be the authority figure saying, "Hey, this is what the future is going to look like," and then have the audience be the kid that goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I need to back off from the 10-year-old kid thing. Okay, I promise I will.
Yeah, remember, you're basically pulling a gift out from behind your back.
Okay.
So when you want to hype up, like for me, when I want to get a little kid excited, I'm like, hey, do you like lizards? And they're like, yeah. Okay. What if I told you that you could have one? And what if I told you I've already got a cage and a lizard for you? You know, they'd be going really crazy. That's kind of the idea. Like you want them to be, you want the audience to have that reaction, not you.
You want to draw them in.
Yeah.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay. What did everybody think of that, Reed?
Much better.
Conversational was good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bit rushed though. Like
Every line was delivered exactly the same.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Okay.
Yeah. It was still better, but they were, yeah.
Together.
It was
Slow it
definitely
down.
more conversational, but it like they said, it was delivered like every line was pretty much delivered the same. It was
Yeah, just mix up the beat and mix up the prosody.
Not easy. This one. I don't think this one's easy.
What we do.
It's what we do. Still the most challenging thing was to use the word staff in something that was supposed to be conversational.
Well, here's something that you could try. I know you probably have this loaded up into Zoto, don't you?
Yes, I do, and I've got it marked. So
Okay. Why don't you choose, because each one of these sentence or these questions sort of pair off together. So that first one, what if you could drive the future today? That's just on its own. That's its own pure introduction. Then we move on to the next one, which tell their own story. What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? So those two should have their own sort of feel to them, their own sort of emotion.
phone for the
yeah.
remote air
Yeah, so I would say if you wanted to try marking that up in some way, you could try brackets in the same color, like in a different color, something that sort of, triggers in your mind that emotion that you're trying to hit. And then what if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? That could be a different feel because it's a different part of the story. And what if you could top up your car on your lunch break? So that is the final little story beat. And then the end is the reveal. What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? So that needs to have its own different feel as well. So you have basically your first line, then the next two lines, the next two lines, then that last line is on its own, and then the next two lines are together. Do you see what I'm talking? Do you see what I mean there? Like, each one of them has its own different emotional feel and flow to it. So maybe something that could help you out is break that apart a little bit. However you want to do it, whether you want to like actually like draw lines in between the VO lines, if you want to color them. Like I've done that before too. I've literally taken the text and changed it to a different color. That usually helps, because me and colors, I don't know, I really like them. But they happen to help me tie emotions into specific sections. Yes, colors are pretty. But yeah, that's something to think about. I think that could help you break it up in a different way. That could help you tell the story differently.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to give that a try or not, but
yeah, I started marking it up with separate colors, brackets.
Perfect. Perfect.
My own particular type of marks.
Do it. Let's see if that changes it up for you. Go ahead and give it a go whenever you're ready.
Wow.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never have to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? And what if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Yeah.
Definitely better.
Much better.
That was powerful.
There you go. That's it, bud. That sounded
Thank you
awesome.
so much for that direction, Michael.
Yeah, great direction.
Sorry, Tim, what was it you were going to say?
I thought he added another and.
He did.
did.
I did. I threw in another ant. It's a throwaway
We can
ant.
deal with it in post.
As I said,
We
we
can
can
cut it.
No
It's
problem.
fine.
We can, but that was really good. I would
Very
say
good.
say do it one more time, slow it down a little bit, and remove that and.
Okay, we'll be quiet.
Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? And what if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day you could power your house?
You added you, but other than that,
yeah,
that
other
was
than that.
perfect.
Sorry, nitpick.
Oh, push clap.
Yeah, instead of
Power your
oh,
house.
wait a minute,
You could power your house.
I'm gonna do that last line one more time.
Okay.
And what if one day it could power your house?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, I replaced it with you, and
You could power your house.
Wow, that would be
Hamster wheel.
great.
Hamster wheel. No,
Put
that
lots
was
of exercise in the basement.
that was
I am
really
Optimus
really well
Prime.
done. Autobots roll out.
Janet.
Power my house with Energon.
my apologies to all the guys who do Optimus Prime for real. I do not do Optimus Prime at all.
All right, Janet, you
yeah.
are up.
All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your help me? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think?
The tag was good.
Just try
A
to
lot
think
of the
of,
what ifs are sounding the same.
try to think of top up your car as one word.
Okay.
That helps.
Top up your car.
Top off your car.
Okay.
This is the first time I've ever heard it said as top up. I've always
Yeah,
heard
I've never
top
heard that
off.
either.
I think
it's
I think
I've heard top off.
It's
I've heard top up, but that's from like the Northeast.
it's dealing with topping up a battery and versus topping off with a gas tank.
It's
well,
a
I mean, you
city
can
thing.
you can still technically top off a battery. Like
Yeah.
I don't
if it
even
were
know
charging.
what.
True too.
Come on, guys. What does that mean? Top up your car. What does that
Eh,
mean?
And fill it
top
with
up-
gas. You know, make sure that it's full of gas or ready to go.
Say top
Yeah.
off.
Go from 90% full to 100% full.
Yeah,
or
you
maybe
may only
105%.
4 gallons of gas, but you went and got 4 gallons of gas to fill it up all the way to the
Yeah.
top.
I'm gonna top this thing now. I guess it's a regional thing. Okay, so some people top it off, and some people are topping it up. So it depends.
Yeah.
Sign on the gas tank that says "Do not top off your car."
And here we are actively telling people to do just that.
But this is the electric guitar. It's an electric one. It's different.
It'll work.
It's an electric guitar? I didn't know you need to top up
electric guitar.
electric guitars.
That too.
Oh, you top it up, you turn it all the way up,
Yeah.
and you
as high as you can get it.
Go to 11.
This baby goes to 11.
Darn it.
One bit of direction that I'd add, I like the overall tone, but I think it would help to have a bit of a pause before the twist in each of these lines.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just a micro pause, a little hair. You know, what if you could check on your car from your phone? You know, a little pause.
Okay. Okay. All right. Should I try it again then one more time?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. I'm going to try and do it with a higher voice, which is really hard, but I'm going to try. All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never have to stop for gas again? Ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? Oh, that sucked. Oh, whoa. Sorry. What?
Dan rule.
What?
Dan rule.
Well, just read the line again.
Just go back and reread the line. Just do it.
What if your everyday car was an electric? Hold on. What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay. So, some things that I noticed were you hit your a lot.
Damn it.
It's okay. It's okay. All I'm asking you to do is just not do that.
I actually did like the first read of the "What if your everyday car was an electric car?" It was different. It stood out.
Mm-hmm.
It stood out from the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just you blew up.
Yeah. The other thing is what if is slightly throwaway. You're saying it so many times that it doesn't really need variation. That'll kind of like,
okay,
it kind of kills the impact of it if you try to do it in a different way every single time.
Okay.
Try to just skip over what if as quickly as you can. What if you could drive the future today? You're trying to get to the main point of the sentence from there. So what if can easily be thrown away. It really doesn't need to be played with all that much.
Okay.
All in all, though, I liked how you did go for, telling the actual story of the script. You did bring out some of those more important points. Switch on the air conditioning remotely. What if you could check on your car from your phone? If you want to emphasize something, phone is more of the operative word in that sentence. So,
Okay.
what if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again ever? That section right there, you did very well. And you definitely recovered from the whole top up flub up at the very beginning. So that was good. Just relax. It's okay. Take a breath. You're not doing a bad job. All right.
Okay.
Take a breath. Try it again.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never have... Sorry, guys.
Just take a breath.
When my voice is raw, because like if I have wine on the weekends, my voice is so raw from the wine. And that's exactly, and so that I pick on myself and say, well, you don't sound good, so you're going to suck, instead of just forgetting about how I sound.
Forget about it and just do it. Just take
just go for it.
You're sounding fine.
Don't worry about your voice. Just perform it. Don't worry about raising the pitch or anything. Just perform it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
doing a great job. Keep it
Okay.
going.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house? That's it.
You did it. That was really good. The only issue, you skipped over a lot. You skipped over a lot of that second line. Well, you said, what if you could check your phone and turn on the air conditioning remotely?
Okay.
But other than that, that was a really solid read.
Okay. All right. Good. These are not easy.
No. That's again, I really like choosing scripts that have a good challenge to them, and trying to tell a story in just questions, I feel, is a pretty interesting challenge. One that's going to take, one that has a lot of approaches to it, and one that I think is really going to help expand your tool set here. But again, I would say just be real careful of where you are in the script, because like I said, you skipped over a lot of that second line. But all in all, that was a really good delivery.
Okay. Good. All right. Okay. I'll watch it when we play it back to the school, you know?
No problem. No problem. So next we're moving on to Tim.
Yeah, hang on one second, guys. There we go. All right.
Okay, Tim.
Now you guys can hear me, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All righty. Okay. What if you could drive the future today? Let me try that again. I'm sorry. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top off your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
All right, opening it up. What did everybody think?
I thought all of it was really good. There was something about the first connected questions, like
Yeah.
the second and third lines. I don't know what happened with the flow on it. I was trying to figure out what was the best way to tell you about it, but it just didn't flow right. I don't know what you missed in it.
No, it was because it was fast. Tim said it accidentally very fast.
He
The
went
second,
quickly through it. Yeah, there was
Oh,
something
yeah.
there. That
Okay.
that stood out. The rest of it was awesome.
yeah.
But those two lines just went, but
I like the
the-
end.
I like the separation of the pause at the end. Don't do it on every line.
Okay.
Then
I was doing that every line.
got pulled into the pattern.
Okay, Patrick, got it. All right. Should I do it again?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. All right. You guys can hear me, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not being low this time. Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top off your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
I liked it, but that's me. I liked it.
So I saw that you
Yeah,
changed that line to something more sensible. You said top off instead of top up,
I'm
but
from
unfortunately it's top
Oh.
up.
that's
he
why.
went
Yeah,
I'm from the region.
Yeah.
Right here in Chicago or right here.
Yeah,
He said top
you dropped
off.
the region.
Yeah.
I really like the flow and the feel of it.
Thank you, Joe.
One pet peeve thing for me is you said, what if you could drive with zero emissions? Zero emissions.
I went fast on that.
Or it was either fast or the emphasis was wrong. Zero emissions. Yeah.
With zero emissions.
That was like the only little picky thing I could think of. It went well.
Thank you.
Yeah. 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 You can just reread that one line for the region, and it would fix it for whoever buys it in another region.
Okay.
I'd like to know what region tops up their car instead of top off their car. I mean, I'm clear out west, up in the northwest. I've never heard it said any other.
Northeast.
My cousins say top up.
Where they from?
Really?
We gotta
Yeah.
top it
Texas.
up.
No, not
Where they
Texas. I'm talking about like New York and
Ah, okay.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one direction I'd have is you read the twist with a very similar tone throughout, except for the last line, power your house, you did great. But it was always today from your phone, remotely, zero emissions.
Okay.
So try varying that up a little.
Okay.
No,
One more
zero
time.
emissions was way different.
One more time.
Oh, true. That one was different too.
Okay.
All right, Tim. One more time.
All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
All right. Opening it up for some input. What did everybody think?
I don't know. I liked the one before, but that's.
I was thinking the same thing. I like the one before better.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I
come
did
on.
too. I thought it was a tiny bit rushed, but
Yeah.
it didn't have the natural awe and enthusiasm for it without going fast. It was that little, like Michael was saying earlier, I got something for you. What if? You had that a lot better in the previous read, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. It did sound rushed.
So then
Excellent,
one of those
excellent
reads
voice.
was awesome.
I love your voice. You got a great voice, Tim.
Yeah, one of your reads was good.
Well, I mean, that's what it's going to be like in any session. You're going to go through and read it a bunch of times, and they're going to choose the one that you absolutely hated.
Yeah.
Right.
I did three reads on a spot, and the read that I did not think would get picked is still running.
Good for you.
Wow. Cool.
All righty then. Well, why don't we go ahead and move on to Leonard? Really good job, Tim.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think?
Sounded forced.
Yes.
Not necessarily the reading part. It's the bonus part. The today, the from your phone, the remotely. That sounded a little forced to me.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it had enough energy behind it.
Okay.
Sounded like you had a certain way you wanted to say every line and just said it that way.
Well, that's probably true.
How about if you did it and just had a big smile on your face? So the same way you just read it, but put the upbeat piece back into it.
Okay.
There we go. That'll work. Go for it.
Well, you could try it. I'm not sure that's the way I'd go with it, but I'll give it a shot.
No, not smarmy.
Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
That was your best read.
I liked it all except for the first line. Read that first line again.
What if you could drive the future today?
Yeah, because the first time you read it, it was so much syrup in that first line.
Okay.
No, yeah, I think if we cut in that last first line to the beginning of that last read, it'd be fantastic. That was all in all a really, really solid read. I know the smiley kind of feels awkward sometimes, but sometimes it does put you right where you need to be. It's really weird how that works in voiceover. Like, the more awkward you feel, the more right you probably are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you're reading and you don't keep that smile and you go back and listen to it, you can tell the exact spot that smile dropped away, because you may feel like you're reading it the same way. It doesn't sound the same. Patrick's shaking his head, isn't that right? Crap, I must have forgot to smile. It happens. So that helped a lot. The only thing I had was the last line. It kind of, I don't know, for me it kind of like petered out. It was like, and what if one day it could power your house?
You had an interesting take on the first read where you said, and what if one day, and I really liked that because no one else had done anything like it. And
I planned that, and then I accidentally slipped away from that on the second one. So thank you for noticing.
Yeah, we could take the one previous on the bottom and the newest one from the top. Take the middle. You're good, darling. We got enough. We'll Frankenstein it together.
Guys, we got plenty of time. Why don't you go ahead and take it again?
Sure. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
All right. What did everybody think of that one?
I still take first take of the last line.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the only thing.
Because it came off naturally, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh,
oh,
that
I
was
forgot
pretty
it last
close.
time. I need to put it back in this one.
Yeah, I thought this time was better, Patrick. Yeah, but
Patrick, you mean Leonard?
no, I was
with Patrick.
agreeing with Patrick on the one, but Leonard, it was.
Oh,
I
okay.
could tell you had a couple spots. Your smile went away, and I looked up, and you weren't smiling anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was not trying to look at you while you were reading, and I looked over. Your smile went away. That was the only thing. So the whole middle of the time before was, I thought, very well done.
Spot on.
Oh, this is why we do multiple reads.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
It's called voiceover. You get to do it over.
Oh.
And over and over and over.
Devin.
All right.
Devin.
Devin is up next. Go for it, Devin.
This is exciting. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
All right. Opening it up. What did everybody think?
Your ever was a little odd. I don't know. Ever. What? Oh, what?
Okay.
Attention on it. But all in all, I thought it was pretty good. Your ever just really jumped out of place for some reason.
Okay.
For some reason, it felt real too sweet to me. It may just be your voice, Devin, but it sounded like a candy commercial.
No. I totally agree. And it was because, Devin, for some reason, you went into this like lilt with every single line. What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? Like you did that weird like lilt thing with your voice, and that really did sort of contribute to that syrupy, sugary, like overdone feel.
Yeah, for some reason I'm hearing the old Coca-Cola commercial in my head. I'd like to buy the world a Coke.
It wasn't. I don't know if it was the voice, but I think it was the way you read it. Maybe the delivery. It came across like super sugary and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Well,
gonna get a
she did have a
toothache
bright
just to
smile
listen
the
to
whole
you talk.
time.
That's how much I love it. I want some
It's
chocolate.
bitchier for me.
No, not bitchier. I think more
Are we
like
going that direction?
teacher. This is more of a teacher kind of a sound.
Yeah, I like that
A
teacher.
what?
A teacher.
More of a
kind of
teacher
sound.
sound.
Like an
Okay.
8th grade teacher, not an elementary school teacher.
Because a smile for you, just Serpy is.
All right, you know what? We're
yeah, I
coining
got
that
the
now
point.
on the
Okay, I
mic
got
check.
the point.
Serpy is now a new word.
Now we're gonna act.
Gonna add it to the rule list.
Could you sell me a car?
Yeah.
Who hasn't chimed in on how syrupy I am?
I'd say
John?
saccharine.
Janet?
Zachary. No, okay. So my only
Anyone say treacly yet?
my only thing is so I just noticed that you had this lilt. I think if you just got rid of the lilt, it would be great. Like that's all you needed to do. You hit all the rest of the points really, really well. It's just I don't know where it came from, but that sort of that direction that you went with your tone just really didn't sit well, at least with me, when it came to this read. So my one direction for this is going to be just it's okay if you're happy and if you want to smile through the whole thing, but understand that this is definitely commercial for an older generation, for somebody who is familiar with cars and technology and maybe what they're capable of now and not necessarily aware of what they're capable of in the future. You're bridging that gap. So you need to be right within that gap. You can be happy, but this definitely requires you to be a little bit serious as well.
Do it like a teacher.
Yeah.
You can do this. You can do this. Go get him, Devin.
Devin.
Miss McPherson, you're on.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody
I like
think?
the way you went with that, but it was a little fast.
There you go. That's just exactly what I was going to say, Dan. Is your
The delivery was great. It was
the
just
tone you were using was great, but you were running.
I felt that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's
go
like
for
your
a
head was
leisurely
saying, "Get me to the end of this thing fast."
Go for a leisurely stroll with the same tone, because the tone and the way you were doing it was great. There you go.
Yeah, I have a couple notes on it. On the never had to stop again for gas again ever. It sounded almost like you delivered that with a shrug to me. So
Similarly, Leonard, I was going to say it. She lost caring about the
car.
copy. Caring about the copy.
Yeah.
Okay, it didn't sound like I was just being matter of fact. It sounded too casual.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, well, I've just never had to
Okay.
stop for gas again. Yeah.
Ever.
You were a bit on the cavalier side there. Does that help? You were cavalier.
Also, I would really like it if if you had some extra emphasis. Well, that's the wrong word, but the point about everyday car being an electric car should somehow stand out as being more important than all the points preceding it. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Slow it down. All right.
You got this.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think?
It was either my internet or hers, but when she went to emphasize electric.
Yeah, I think it was your internet.
It was your internet.
It was your internet because you're having some lag right now.
It was yours. You just froze.
Retake the third line from the end, but what was completely different was you just had this element of sounding really cool. Like, let me tell you about something really cool. I thought that was great.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with retaking the third line from the end because it didn't sound like you ended the idea.
Right.
Okay. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? Okay.
Buenísimo. Perfecto.
We'll put it in later.
You got a lot to work with.
We'll
fix it in-house. Thank you.
Miss McPherson, I need a hall pass.
I got a pie.
But all in all, so the tone was definitely a lot more adult oriented. It made sense for the audience. That pace with the last read, really, really good. Again, the only note that we had was third from the last line. It didn't sound like you ended the idea, but in your retake, that was totally great. We would just cut it out, put it in, you'd be totally golden. And all in all, that was your best read among
Yeah,
them.
the cooler attitude, that works better. I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All righty then.
Next.
I'm up next. That's right. Great. It's me.
Uh-oh.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if, one day, it could power your house?
All right. So you ended out really well in my ears. The first 5 lines, you ended the question on an up note like every single time, and it sounded like the exact same tone. What if you could drive the future today? What if you did it on the first all the way through emissions? Then you did from the never gas down was actually sounded really good to me.
You dropped the on the second line. You said,
Yeah.
check your car.
Yeah, check your car.
Check on your car. Okay. All right. Anything else?
No. I think you've got the tone of intrigue down nicely.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Well, let's fix the gaps. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if, one day, it could power your house?
I don't have anything. That sounded pretty spot on to me.
Yeah. Great job, Michael.
Nice job.
Yep. Golfer's clap.
Dan, Leonard, anything?
You got what I asked for.
Okay.
He took
If
all the
if I had
directions, he went with
anything,
it.
I'd say read the "What if your everyday car was an electric car" line 3 different ways.
3 different ways?
ABC.
Okay,
Just that
let's go for it. What if your everyday car was an electric car? What if your everyday car was an electric car? What if your everyday car was an electric car?
That was definitely 3 different ways.
Yep.
Actually, I like the third one.
Yeah, I'd go with the third
Yeah.
one too.
I did too.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just patch that third one in there and you're good.
Goodbye.
You're good.
You good?
You're good. Your paycheck's in your PayPal account.
Oh, I wish. All right, anyway.
Patrick.
Production guy is sure
Patrick.
having to do a lot of patching tonight. That's all I can
Yeah.
Tough act to follow. Great.
Very, very nice, Michael.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if, one day, it could power your house?
All right, opening it up. What did everybody think?
I like his voice.
You should be in
I got
voiceover.
nothing on that. That one was pretty close to
Yeah,
perfect.
Patrick, has anybody ever told you should consider doing voiceover?
My mom?
Oh, Mama knows what she's talking about, boy.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever told you got a voice for radio? I keep getting told I got a face for radio.
Oh God.
Anyway, back to it. All right. What did everybody think of the performance? Let's open it up.
I didn't have a lot of. There was one small thing, and I'm trying to even remember where it was at. Was up toward the top.
It was the conditioning remotely.
Yeah, that's exactly where it was. Yep, just what I was looking at. It was a little hesitant, but it was so stinking tiny that
it'll never be noticed except by a professional.
We fix it in post.
Yeah.
Now let's get as close to perfection as we can.
I just tweaked out one line. That's it.
Yeah, Mr. Good Voice, show us how it's supposed to be this time.
What he did was he took a break after he said and switched on the air conditioning remotely is what he had done. And it was just a minor pause. It wasn't even that much of a pause.
It was just enough that you went,
what?
Are we nitpicky?
No, that's all right.
I think he took like a quick breath or something right there, maybe. I don't know.
Well, why don't you go ahead and give us another go? Give us another read.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if, one day, it could power your house?
So I may be projecting, and I really hope I'm not, but I actually have a similar critique for you that Dan did for me. A lot of the questions sort of ended off exactly the same. Like, he did a really good job of telling the story regardless, but a lot of them sort of ended off exactly the same. This is more of just a for fun take, I would say, like for this direction, but try to vary up how you end those questions each different, for each different story section. Like try to do something a little bit different with those to sort of vary it up a bit.
Did I do
a little more so on
but see the difference between the way that Patrick did it and the way that Michael did it? I did catch it.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something, but Michael jumped ahead of me. You did it at the end after the and line instead of the phone line. Like instead of the second line, you did it on the third line, and then again on the gas again, and then it on the what if it stopped on your lunch break. All three of those ended the same way, almost exactly. And that's what I was actually going to point that out on this take, but you didn't do it the last take. You did it on this take.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just what I was going to say. Your first take didn't have that in it. And then this time it didn't seem to have the wanderlust in it or whatever. And it was more reading. The first time came out much more conversational and I thought was just stupendous. This time it's like, okay, I got to read it again, so I'm going to read it again. That's kind of it came out.
If your first take is too perfect and you have to do it again just so we have something to take on.
So we can fill up the hour because Bob doesn't have to go for lunch for another 30 minutes. Go again?
Sure.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if, one day, it could power your house? Probably hit the "your" a little too hard on the last line.
That's for us to decide, not for you.
That is the Dan rule.
That's
The Dan
right.
rule is always active. And the Dan rule states that when you're behind the microphone performing, you're focused on your performance. You leave those directions to us,
The
mister.
flag on the field is a Dan flag.
Dan rule violation, red flag. No,
I thought it was great. I didn't catch the overemphasis that much. I thought it went along with what was there. I thought you varied things. I really liked it.
actually, I agree with what you said about yourself, Patrick. I think you could have ended off that last line a little bit more with more finality.
Yeah.
Do it again.
I think you did hit your a little bit too hard. I don't think that was really the worst of it, though. You did hit it a little hard, but I think the worst of it was it didn't sound like you ended off the idea with any kind of finality. So I would say just go ahead and give it that last read, or go ahead and give it one more read, and really like end it off. Let's just have it one last take of that last line.
And what if one day it could power your house?
There you go. That would be it. Attaching that to that last
We
read.
got another splice to do. We got things
Icing and dicing and making julienne fries, whatever those are.
That producer's getting a little overtime, isn't he?
Oh, that was great.
Thank you.
All in all, fantastic. Really good read that time. Really good read that time.
Good job, Patrick.
Rob.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
That was close to perfect.
Yep.
I just have two notes, and they're at the very, very end, though. You put when you said, "What if your everyday car?" You put more emphasis on car than everyday. What if your everyday car was an electric car? That's what you're juxtaposing, everyday and electric. And again, just like with Patrick's read, that very, very end didn't sound like you ended it off with enough finality, at least in my opinion. But those are my two notes. I would say, again, and more emphasis on everyday rather than car, and then end off with a lot more finality. But opening it up, what did everybody else think?
Yeah, I have one note on it. You, on most of the what ifs, you went, what if, pause, and then whatever. And that made the what if sound really repetitive. So I'd like to eliminate some of the pauses after the what if.
You have a good millennial voice.
Yes.
I'm going to mention this at the risk of you overemphasizing it the next time, or becoming too self-aware. I really like the cool factor at the end of each line. It's like, here's something magical.
Right.
No, yeah, I feel that was really done quite well with your delivery. Again, my only notes were just those two that I gave you at the very end. But why don't you go ahead and give us another read?
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again? Ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay. You still had a little bit of a break with those what ifs, but in saying them really quick, it helped you sort of skip over them a lot easier. I don't know. I felt that was mostly much better. I still don't think you really hit that second to last line quite as well. What if your everyday car was an electric car? You still put more of the emphasis on car. What if your everyday car was an electric car?
Even after you tried to come back to it, you did the same thing, except for you just hit everyday car as one. What if your everyday car, it was an electric car? That's what happened.
Car.
Yeah. But then he did everyday car. everyday car. So I think just
The last-
unbracket that a little bit.
Yeah.
Read that second to last and the last line again.
What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
That was much better.
Yes.
That was much better that time around. Definitely.
You're still hitting car too strong.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Like pause in between everyday and car.
No, just
No.
everyday car.
Yeah.
One note on
Soften it
the
up a bit.
on the last line, you went, it could power your house. And that didn't quite feel final enough when the house went almost up there. What if it could power your house? Just a thought.
So give us those last two lines again.
What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Peter, every day is a throwaway.
Car is a throwaway.
No, car is the throwaway, not every day.
Yeah, the car's the throwaway and you hit it. What if your everyday car
Let me
was
get a little technical for a second. The two things that are contrasted are everyday and electric. And car is a throwaway both times. Everyday car was an electric car. And then for the last line, the key word in that whole sentence is power. So, you know, if you hit power, then your house just kind of falls away and does make it final.
Last two lines.
Absolutely.
What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Okay. What did everybody think?
I actually like the
better.
pauses.
Yeah.
It felt almost like overcompensating for the critique.
Richard, I really
We'll
like
just
that.
edit in Patrick's version in the line that he put into.
You see, the funny thing is when you say electric car, like you hit car perfectly there. Like you hit electric and then car is sort of just this tacked on thing. All you need to do is just transfer that same thing over to electric car. What if your electric car was what if your everyday car was an electric car?
Put it in a different color or make it bolder.
Read the line backwards. Swap the two items.
So last line first and then the second last line?
No. Say electric car and then say everyday car.
Right.
What if your electric car was an everyday car?
That's it.
You got it.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll just flip it. We get to edit again. Here we go.
What if your everyday car? What if your everyday car was an electric car?
Again.
What if your everyday car was an electric car?
Yes.
That's it.
There it is.
That's
Good
it.
job,
did
buddy.
That's it.
Don't read it again because you'll screw it up. We got it. We'll figure out where you're at. You're good.
Okay.
Spare
Anyway.
your script.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm
No,
glad I
but-
could boost up their ego and make them feel better about themselves.
but Rob, did that feel different to you? Did that actually come off as different to you?
It's like when they say that quotes do have a sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
With your everyday car. Yep.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
did. You definitely pulled it off this time.
Mhm.
I think Patrick. Thank you for that whole switching them up because I really think that helped you get yourself into that mindset, Rob. But yeah, that was perfect. If you would have done that, I mean, I think it's a testament to how good your read was that all we had you do was those last two lines because the rest of it was just I don't know. I didn't see too much wrong with it, but yeah, you definitely picked those last two lines up, and that was spot on, perfect.
You did a really good job of listening to all the other
Nice
critiques of those that came before you and screwed up. So, you did really
All
well.
right.
We were going to let you off the hook without finding something. So you did good, Rob.
John.
Moving on. John, you're up.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
That sounded like a Dan rule to me.
Let us do that for you.
What?
Yeah. No.
Sounds are the same thing.
If I may, the only note that I have on it is you hit and switch on the air conditioning remotely a little too hard.
I thought it was saying what ifs too hard. Almost.
I think that and was the only thing. Like, oh, you really everything else I thought was wonderful.
Yeah, I thought it was all great. It was just that whoosh that he did to the poor ant smack. Other than that, it was very, very well done.
So top 3 lines?
Yeah, I would say top 3 lines.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely?
You got it.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
Production, we got another job for you.
No, seriously though, like the rest, you must have definitely taken a lot of notes from all the reads before you, because the pace was really good. Everything that you did to try to tell the story was really spot on. Like you really, it seemed like you had that vision in mind of exactly where you were going with it, and that all came through with your reads. So all in all, just that poor little you got checked it a little too hard, but other than that, spot on.
It was all by itself. It needed some emphasis.
I just want some attention.
Pat it on the head. Don't punch it in the gut.
Ow.
Way back.
No, yeah, I don't have anything else for that. I thought it was really fantastic. So I guess, John, congratulations. You did 2 1/4 reads.
Good job, John.
Or 1 1/4 reads.
1 1/4 reads.
Yeah, 1 1/4 reads. My bad.
He got one earlier. He got his dry read out of the way.
All right, Dan, show us how it's done.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Is he stoned? He just saw his face.
Laughing during the mic drop probably doesn't help.
No.
Opening it up. What did everybody think? Go ahead.
Richard's gonna burst, I think.
If you're selling to the medical marijuana crowd.
So what if, man?
What if Dave's not here, man?
I figured I'd give you guys everything to make on me.
It was Danny intriguing. It was, I don't know. What was the third from the last line?
I have no idea.
You just stopped in the middle of it. It's like, what if you could top
off your car?
Okay. Yeah, that one I just went, what? And it wasn't an internet thing. You just stopped.
Right, Dan, you meant to do that.
Places for weird pauses.
I literally tried doing everything that was critiqued on throughout the whole thing.
Oh, they did great then. It was perfect.
All right.
Good. What a story this is going on after midnight.
Let's rein it in a little bit here.
Your tone was fine on it. Put a little smile that would bring the lilt up a little bit, and it wouldn't sound like, dude, Do you know what we did last night, man? You know, a little smile to it, because your tone, I don't think, was that far off. But you just need to bring it up a little, and that's what a smile will do, is just bring it up a tad. And I think you'd be good with that. Okay? Are you
Absolutely
happy?
agree. Go for it. Go
Where's
for it.
the mirth?
All right. Sorry, I'm still laughing at myself.
No problem. Take a second.
Take another
Take a
hit.
second.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
I'm going to give you a direction that we generally don't give you, and I think this is really going to help. Do it a little bit quicker.
What?
I think you're doing it a little. I think you're doing it a little too slow. I think you need to pick it up just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a bit quicker.
The smile helped. You were a little slow, and don't let the "what if you could top up your car" don't stop on up. Just keep going on through it. You were better this time, but yeah, I know it's not top off, it's top up, but
Did I say top off?
no,
No,
it's
you
still
said
what-
top up. You did. You
said
did. But
top up, but it throws you and you stopped. It just top up your car. It's not top up your car on your lunch break. So it was a lot better. Give it another go. You'll give us your best one yet.
What if you could drive the future today?
if-
No, I'm just kidding.
What if maybe he's a little syrupy? Maybe it works for Dan and not me.
What if you could drive the future today?
Add a little Mary Poppins.
again, I think generally his tone is in the right place. Where he's trying to tell the story is in the right place. I would say if you want to put a comma in that third from the bottom line, it would be after car. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? But yeah, I think if you just like one tick faster, just a little bit quicker, I think that's the only change you really need to make with this read.
Okay. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch the air conditioning on? And switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Yeah, that sounded really good that time.
I liked
There
it.
you go.
You fell into the pattern.
Yeah,
But
the twists all sounded the same through the first 6 lines.
yeah, which you didn't do on the first read.
Yeah, I understand what I did. I didn't catch myself, but you say it and I hear myself doing it. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah, your tone is perfect. You're like one step above millennial and young adult, and it is a perfect match for this script.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
All right, I think that's your best read so far. Tim, you pulled a Richard.
Yep.
I'm still getting today, your phone, remotely, 0 emissions.
I didn't get it as bad that time. I thought that was pretty darn good read, all in all.
Hmm. It was better than the last one.
Yep.
I still got that a little bit though.
Right.
Well, if Leonard doesn't like it, give him one more.
We only have one more reader. I can do it.
Yeah, go for it.
What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never have to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
So I got a little bit of weirdness, but I think that was just connection related. All in all, though, I think that was your best read so far.
Good job.
I think I varied it up a little bit for you.
Mhm.
What do you think, Leonard?
I'll take that one.
Now let's see what Leonard thinks. Did it fit the notes?
Could vary it a little more. I'd like to go with like the 0 emissions to me is just begging to be delivered lower, but that's a style thing.
Maybe you don't sound confident enough. Maybe you sound a little confused. Maybe that's what he's saying.
What if you could drive with
That what you're
0 emissions? What if you could drive with 0 emissions?
I can't do
Or
that
like
one.
end off on a mid-tone. What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever?
What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again? I don't know. It doesn't feel comfortable at all. What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? That one?
Try going down on emissions with 0 emissions.
That's how I read it. What if you could drive with 0 emissions?
It goes
Oh.
No,
0
you're
emissions.
going 0 emissions. Yeah, you're going up at the end.
I guess
0
I did.
emissions.
What if you could drive with 0 emissions? I still do it. What if you could drive with 0 emissions? It's
0 emissions.
What if you could drive with 0 emissions? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never have to stop for gas again, ever? I can't go down like that.
I'm sure
Practice
you
it at
could.
home later.
Zero emissions is one concept. What if you could drive with 0 emissions? It doesn't. It
0
doesn't.
emissions.
With 0 emissions.
If you think of it as 0 emission vehicle, yeah, it's 1. Instead, think of it as 0 emissions. And do what Danielle said last week, which is really savor that 0.
What if you could drive with 0 emissions?
There you go.
Yeah, you
Never
got
had
That
to
was
stop for
it.
gas again, ever.
That
Oh,
was
thanks.
it.
Yes.
I wasn't here last week, though.
I didn't speak.
Well, no, that was it. That was a really, really solid read. Really good job. All right.
I'm good with it.
And certainly not least.
So excited for you, Dan.
Oh, by the
Listen.
way, I found the commercial, so we'll play it afterwards.
Oh,
Okay.
Phil,
yeah.
are you ready?
Am I ready?
Are you ready?
Am I ready?
0
Give us
emissions?
perfection.
0
All the
emissions.
All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Opening it up. What did
He
everybody
started
think?
out friendly, and then he got angry.
I don't know that he got angry. He got reedy, I think is what it is. It sounded like he was reading a script. I don't think it was angry as much as it was you were reading the words and not saying them. They
Yeah,
weren't conversation.
It seemed to lose its flow somewhere around the middle.
Okay.
I missed the everyday emphasis instead of the car emphasis.
Yeah, I was going to say, much like Rob, you hit car
Yeah.
rather than every day.
All right. Another run through?
Oh, yeah.
All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
Still getting that Reedy vibe all the way through it that time, though.
Yeah, the last word on each line, it's like today, phone, remotely, emissions, ever. Well, not ever, but
okay.
But I'm getting a lot of that. Vary it up a little.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's what takes away, I think, from the conversational part of it is it's you're hitting the end of things and then starting over, and they're all ending the same way, like you're finished reading the line. So let's see if that helps.
All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
That was better.
I liked it.
I'll go with a weird direction here. Just read the last word on every line.
Oh, okay. Today, phone, remotely. Emissions, ever. Break. Car. House. Huh.
Make it lunch break an electric car, and but I'm still getting a lot of that. Today, phone, remotely, emissions. Okay.
You remember that? Did you hear me give Nathan the direction to bracket off the certain question pairs?
Sort of like split it up.
Yeah, so it's sort of an idea of how to sort of keep the story straight in your head, where each of the different story points and the story breaks happen. So, what if you could drive the future today? Is your that's your opening statement. That's your setup line. So, what you're doing is you're introducing somebody who's never heard of any of this before to the concept. What if you could drive the future today? You know, what if we brought this weird technology that you've never heard of before here and now? So I would say bracket that off in a different color or in a different way to sort of hopefully signal to your mind that that is your introductory statement. Whoever is listening has never heard of this before. Then the next two questions stick together. What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? Okay. Both of those are sort of the same thing. You know, there's some technology now that you can control your car from far off. You know, you have this magic black box in your pocket that can make the car cold. You know, that's kind of cool. So bracket that off in a specific way. What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? You know, now we're talking about distance control. So those two, bracket them off in some other way or different color.
All right.
Moving on. What if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? Now we're talking about fueling the car, powering it. How is this going to run? Everybody's familiar with gas cars. You go to the gas station, you wait in line for 20 minutes because the idiot in front of you won't pull forward anymore. And, then you spend out the nose to try to top the car off when it's gone in the next week. You know, what if you never had to deal with that ever again? What if you never had to deal with smog checks and things like that ever again? That's sort of the idea with that one. So what if you could drive with zero emissions and never had to stop for gas again ever? That's a completely different bracket. Give that its own feel because it's a different part of the story. And then the next question here, this is all about convenience. What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? with a gas car, you're pretty much sitting in, in a line for your entire lunch break just to get up to the gas, just to get up to the stall and pump the, get up to the pump itself and actually get the gas. Now we're talking about you plug it in, you go sit down, you never have to worry about it again. And then at the very end, this is where you're obviously introducing what your car is and even more stuff that it can do. What if your everyday car were an electric car, not a gas car, not some cheap, throwaway car that you bought for $400 off of some dude that you knew, and it barely works. What if it's actually like this high technology, really, really awesome car? And what if one day it could power your house? What if in an emergency, you're the only one on the block with a working stove and who can cook food and boil water? Like that's kind of the feel that it's supposed to have. And those last two sentences should be blocked off appropriately.
Okay.
So not only is it ending off the idea, it's also sort of introducing new ones. So the flow is you have your introduction, you have your, you have the different points, your different story beats, which go from remote control to gas to convenience. And then finally, this is what it is, and there's still more to come.
All right.
So try to give it that feel.
All right. What if you could drive the future today? What if you could check on your car from your phone and switch on the air conditioning remotely? What if you could drive with 0 emissions and never had to stop for gas again, ever? What if you could top up your car on your lunch break? What if your everyday car was an electric car? And what if one day it could power your house?
That was really good.
I
That was
like that one.
fantastic.
Much better.
Yep. Bravissimo.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
That was really well done, sir. Very well done, yes.
All righty then. Well, I believe that's everybody, unless I've missed somebody who came in.
That's everybody.
All right, cool. Well, like I said, we're going to be having another special guest joining us. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes out. We'll give you some more information as we get closer. And for those of you who are going to be sticking around on the mic check for the post-recording portion of it, I'll let you know exactly who it is right now. But all in all, thank you very much. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, hit the bell so you know exactly when we post the next one. And you know what? Follow the link down below to join us. It's more fun when you're actually here. All right, everybody. We'll see you all next week.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Join us every Monday for free script practice. You can also find the mic check on Facebook and Twitter. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more.